Hello, and welcome back to Studio Session. I'm Katherine, and thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. Getting started with today's report for reading, I just finished my second book of the year. I read As Good as Dead, which is a very morbid title, but it's the final book in a mystery series that I read, and this is a pretty solid book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. For eating, I honestly cannot remember if I've already talked about this, but I love pears, and I think they are one of the most underrated fruits, so I just wanted to give a shout out to pears. For playing, I've been listening to a lot of Lana Del Rey recently. My sister has a couple of her CDs, and she's been playing them on her CD player, so I've kind of been listening to them too. Great artist, love her. For obsessing, maybe it's just because we've been getting snow recently, but I've just been obsessed with the idea of summer and warmer weather. I mean, I always feel like I want what I can't have. So when it's winter, I want summer. When it's summer, I want winter. But I just really, really want warmer weather right now. For recommending, I recommend that you set some goals for yourself, just to give you something to strive towards, whether it be for your grades, just for something that you want to do. Just set some goals for yourself. And for treating, I've been trying to give myself some study breaks. Midterms start tomorrow. Scary, but we got it. All right, let's jump right into our main segment. I am joined with Lucas for our main segment today, and today's album review is The Stranger by Billy Joel. This album was released in 1977, and Apple Music categorizes it as rock. I mean, I can see why it'd be a rock album, but I don't know if I would fully call it rock. So my favorite song on the album was Vienna, which is probably one of the most popular ones. This song is just so good. It's almost a tearjerker, and there are very few songs that actually can make me cry. It's emotional, and it just really makes you reflect on life. Maybe it's just because I'm a senior and I'm thinking about where life is going to take me within the next couple of years. But this song just gave me all the emotions. It's so powerful, and I loved it so much.
For my most favorite song on this album, I chose Scenes from an Italian Restaurant. I definitely love this song because of the instruments used. I like the upbeat part at the beginning where you got just all the different instruments going, like a true Italian restaurant. I don't know, you ever been in one of those restaurants, they got the guy singing in the corner, they might have a band. Just, it paints a picture, and I really like the scene. It goes through life, it's pretty much going around the restaurant. It's a great storytelling song. Lyrics are great, music is great. I'm going with Scenes from an Italian Restaurant for my most favorite on this album.
I also really liked that song. Okay, for my second favorite on the album, I gave it to She's Always a Woman. I thought this was just such a sweet and pure song. This one was also kind of a tearjerker. It's very romantic, and I like how it describes the woman in the song as powerful and confident, as opposed to just your regular romance song. I don't know, I just really liked it. Super sweet song, and She's Always a Woman was my second favorite on the album.
I gave my second most favorite to Vienna. Like Catherine said, it's definitely one of the best on this album, one of the most popular. It is on the sadder side, unlike Scenes, which is pretty much the most upbeat song on the album, but Vienna definitely is one of the better ones on this album. Just the storytelling is also there. Great tandem of storytelling on this album overall by Billy Joel. So I'm having that as my second most favorite on the album.
Okay, my least favorite song on this album. This one, it was hard to pick a least favorite. I really did like all of the songs on this album. My least favorite was Just the Way You Are. This was a sweet song. It just kind of seemed a little more mediocre compared to all the great songs on this album. It kind of had a slower beat, a little more relaxed vibe. It just wasn't a standout to me, so unfortunately Just the Way You Are was my least favorite, but I didn't dislike this song. There were just so many good ones that it was hard to pick.
So for me, it came down to the last two songs on this album with the same conundrum. It's definitely a lot of good songs on this album, but I went with Get It Right the First Time as my least favorite. Just doesn't have it like the other songs. I was really stuck between that or Everybody Has a Dream, but I really admire how Everybody Has a Dream has that ending part that is synonymous with the start of the album, where it's got the little instrumental at the end, and I think it capped off the album really nicely. So I'm saying that Get It Right the First Time is my least favorite because it just isn't, it's not a bad song, it just isn't up to the other ones.
Okay, and our last category for our most underrated pick, I gave it to Movin' Out. also known as Anthony's song. And like Lucas said, a lot of songs on this album have a really good storytelling aspect. I think that Moving Out is definitely one of them. I liked the tune, the instruments, and this song was just fun and almost kind of like angsty. I don't know, I just really liked it. It kind of told a story about this guy who's like, he's like, I'm moving out. And I just really like this one. It's definitely underrated in my opinion.
Anthony is saving up his pennies for a Cadillac, and I'm saving my most underrated song for The Stranger. I feel like this song, the best comparison is Wanna Be Starting Something. It's right at the start of the album, and I feel like it's got that little wind up that like I was talking about in Everybody Has a Dream, where it's got that little melody at the start, and then it brings you into The Stranger. I really like the lyrics, specifically falling in love and disregarding the danger. I think that's a great line by Billy Joel, and it paves the way for the incredible album that follows. So I'm going to say The Stranger is the most underrated song on this album.
So many good ones on this album. I'd also like to shout out Only the Good Die Young. Great song too, just didn't make any of my categories today. Okay, so overall, I gave this album an 8.5 out of 10, which is a really, really great ranking. I noted that I just really thoroughly enjoyed the album. I think Billy Joel is just a phenomenal singer, great artist, and the album was just really cohesive as a whole, and I really enjoyed it. Definitely one of the higher rankings I've given out for these albums that we've done, and yeah, 8.5 out of 10 for me.
Allergy season is coming, and it seems that my co-host here is allergic to giving out ratings higher than 8.5 out of 10. I'm giving this one a 9. Not much higher, but I think this is a great album. No misses. Would listen to again. Billy Joel did his thing. Yeah, great to have reviewed this album.
Okay, that was it for our main segment, and let's jump into our next one. Okay, so for our next segment today, we are back with a new game, and this is an over/under listener game. I've seen some people on like TikTok or and other social platforms play this game. I think there are also like online versions of this game where you get an artist and then you get an amount of monthly listeners, and you have to guess if they either have more or less than that. It's a little hard to explain, so I think I'm just gonna jump right in, and I think you guys will get the gist. Okay, the first artist, Lucas. Does Pitbull have over or under 20 million monthly listeners?
I'm going to go with over because I personally, you wouldn't think he would have that many, and 20 million, don't get me wrong, is a lot of people. That's like saying 1 in every 13 people in America is listening to Pitbull, but I feel like that could be an accurate statistic because I know my sister listens to Pitbull, I listen to Pitbull. I listen is a very loose term. I have 2 of his songs on my 500 song playlist, but I'm going to go with over.
Yes, Pitbull does have over 20 million listeners, 22 million, so just over. This one really surprised me. I think because I know a lot of people love Pitbull. I just think he's no one's really favorite artist, I think he just has so many songs that are so popular that do fall onto a lot of people's playlists, so he kind of gets those listeners. But yes, 22 million.
Pitbull is a great glue guy in the music industry, and I just feel like listening to him, especially the song Give Me Everything and all those just hype songs you hear at the school dances. Great guy. All right, I picked Ice Spice over under 30 million monthly listeners.
Ooh, Ice Spice, 2023 has been her year. I think she is definitely one of the most up-and-coming artists. I am going to have to go under, though. I just don't know if she has that many hits yet. I know she has some really, really popular songs, but I don't know if she has enough to get her that 30 million. So I'm going to go under.
That is correct. Ice Spice is sitting at a sneaky 27.1 million.
Definitely close, though. That's really impressive considering she only has a couple of popular songs so far. Okay, my next artist is Wiz Khalifa, over or under 30 mil.
Hammering the under on this one. I can't think of one good Wiz Khalifa song. I know he's obviously, been mentioned in the game for a good amount of time now. I think he wrote that song 1738. That's the only thing I can think of. So I'm definitely going under.
This one shocked me. Wiz Khalifa has 31 million monthly listeners. This is insane to me because I also cannot name a Wiz Khalifa song. I know he was on See You Again with Charlie Puth, and that is the only thing I know him from, to be honest. So I was shocked that this guy has 31 million listeners. I'm appalled.
Yeah, I want to know who's making these statistics. All right, next one. Hope everyone listened to the last episode we put out. So we're doing Lauryn Hill over under 10 million. We just reviewed the miseducation of Lauryn Hill. I highly suggest you go listen to that if you haven't already.
Ooh, okay, this one's tough because honestly, I was not familiar with any of Lauryn Hill's work before filming that podcast episode. So, but 10 million is on the lower end. So I'm going to go with over, but not by much. My guess would be like 12 million.
She is sitting at 12.8 million. Great guess. Lauryn Hill
I'm
over.
so good at this. That was a great guess by me. Okay, my next artist is Coldplay, over or under 80 million?
I'm going to go with the under on this. I just think 80 million is a crazy high number, but I wouldn't be surprised because Coldplay definitely has some bangers.
That is correct with the under 76.4 million, which is still an insane number, but Coldplay is it's a great band, so definitely deserves that number.
All right, for my next person, I have Jack Harlow, over under 50 million listeners.
Ooh, see, Jack Harlow is another artist that I think is kind of like on the up and coming. I think he's had a lot of really popular hits. 50 million, you said?
Yeah.
50 million. I'm gonna go with under. I think he's close. I think he's probably more in like the 40 million range.
Shockingly, Jack Harlow is over with 56.9 million. That's kind of insane. Again, I want to know who's making these. I want to know why a seventh of the United States population is listening to Jack Harlow.
Yeah, that's insane. Okay, I'm gonna do one more. Olivia Rodrigo, over or under 50 million?
Hammering the over. There's no way that she has less monthly listeners than Jack Harlow.
That's correct. She has 59 million monthly listeners, and she's definitely just going to keep getting more because she's putting out amazing stuff.
All right, I'm going with a classic. Elvis Presley, over under 30 million listeners.
Ooh, this is tough. I think Elvis is obviously one of the most influential artists, but I don't know if people would be like actively streaming his stuff as much anymore. But I am gonna go with over 30 million.
That is correct. Elvis still gets 39 million monthly listeners in today's day and age.
That's shocking to me because seeing so many like trendy popular artists now, like even Olivia Rodrigo having almost 60 million and then Elvis having just over 30, that's crazy because I feel like so many people would consider Elvis like far more influential. I think it just really comes down to like the modern streaming services. That's really, really interesting. All right, we hope you enjoyed that fun little game, and let's jump into our final segment for the day. All right, so for our final segment today, we are going to be covering what to expect next. As we previously mentioned, there will be no episode this Friday because on the Thursday that we would normally film it, we do not have school. Well, we do, but it's midterms and we get out super early, so we do not have time to film the podcast, unfortunately. But when we return next Wednesday, we will be reviewing Face Value by Phil Collins. And unfortunately, there's also no really albums to shout out that are going to be released this weekend. Yeah, kind of a boring week. Sorry, guys. Any final notes?
Yeah, so the year has obviously started out a little slow. It's okay. Next Friday, Benny the Butcher is coming back to save hip-hop. I'm ready for it. Until then, though, I'll be listening to my Phil Collins. I'll be listening to a whole lot of new alternative music by a lot of great unheard of artists. Definitely recommend getting your feet wet, getting out there in the scene of the artists you like. Just looking up, for the example, this weekend I looked up Tame Impala sound-alikes, and I found a lot of great artists. So if you're bored, do that. If you're bored that there's no good albums coming out, no disrespect, I have not listened to the Kali Uchis album yet, or Kid Cudi, which I don't plan on listening to. But yeah, just get your feet wet in that sense, and we will catch you next episode. Very excited to do this album.
It's a new year, so time for new music. Definitely listen to some new stuff this year. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.